Hey, Facebook. Hey, YouTube. Thank you for joining us today on the Layover Podcast. Joining me, I have Joy McLaughlin-Harris,
Woo!
Mrs.
Hey
Joy
y'all.
you, motivational speaker. Without any further ado, you saw the title. We are talking about credentials on today. So, Joy, before we go into what's what, let the people know who you are. Give them some of your credentials, Joy.
Okay, say it. Okay, Carrie. Say it again.
Let the people know who you are. Give them your credentials.
Okay, so let me tell you guys a little bit about me. Here's my quick Joy Speaks to You. For those of you that are new to me, I am Joy McLaughlin-Harris, also known as Joy Speaks to You with the number two, the letter U. I am an educator, motivator, innovator, business coach, strategist, transformational, and empowerment speaker. My company is called Touch of Joy International LLC. We help individuals and companies to shift their mindset to maximize their business potential and monetize their brand. I think that's enough, Karen. What you think?
I think they got a good bit of it, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
And Joy, so we see you traveling. Where you headed to, Joy?
We are headed to Hilton Head for the first Shift Retreat 2021. We started planning over a year ago, and we are here for this weekend. Everything's shifting around us, but that's all right because we know that God is going to do something great. I'm excited.
And that is real. I'm excited for you. So, Joy, when you first saw the topics, and you saw credentials, what was your first thoughts?
My first thought was, okay, when you think about elevation, next level, traveling, doing anything, you got to have those credentials. You got to have that paper. You got to be able to be identified. So when I saw the topic and I said that's the one, it made me think about what you need to have in place as far as foundation when it comes to business ownership and the credentials and things you have to have so that you can be able to be firm in what it is that you're doing. So it's the same thing when you're getting ready to go to another level of elevation. You got to have your credentials right and tight. So that was my first thought. Like, we got to have that paper right. We got to have our credentials right when we're trying to level up and when we want to make sure where we're going is on a firm foundation. So that was my first thought.
So, and you definitely right. We definitely have our credentials. You can't be
Yeah,
showing up in the emergency room saying you're a doctor and you don't have that PhD to go with it.
that's
I'm
it.
not letting
You
you
got you
operate
got
on
to
me.
have it. You got to
You
have it.
gotta have it.
Yeah. So that was my first thought. My first thought was like, one of the things I thought about is that every level of evolution, you got to level up your paperwork. You got to level up everything got to be right and tight when you're thinking about leveling up in business. Or even I thought about when I went to Africa. And when I went to Africa, that was a whole nother place. So I had to do more because where I was going. Ooh, that's so good. I had to get in position more. I had to get more shots. I even had to spend more money. So when you're leveling up, when you're elevating, when you're traveling further, guess what? You might have to make an investment that costs you more money. You might have to put things in your business that may require you to spend more money. Better yet, you may have to invest in a coach or mentorship as you are leveling up because you're going to a new place, you're going to someplace foreign. So you got to be in position for what it is that you're praying for, and that's having your credentials right. So, girl, I keep going, Karen. You better cut me off because this is so good to me.
I need Joy to speak, honey. I told you. Be who
Yeah.
you are to thyself, be true, and give us what we need. And you said a key word, investment.
Yes.
So many of us start a business or start a journey, and we do not make the investment that we need to make to ourselves
Yes.
to even move forward to get done what needs to be done. So I'm
Yes.
glad you even talked about investments. For instance, you have classes, you have seminars, you have webinars that people have to invest
Yes.
in order to become a different version or a higher level version of who they are, who they're destined to be. So definitely, bringing that point up was a great point because that's a part of your credential, the investment that you make in yourself to level up.
Yeah. Yeah, so you was going in and out, but I caught what you saying as far as like the importance of the investment. So I'll say this, like I was saying with the Africa trip, I wanted to go further. I wanted to do something different. I went to some place that was far, so that required me to level up. That required me to spend more money because I wanted to go someplace I never been. I wanted to go further than I ever been before. So as business owners, we say we want next level success. We want to go to places that's not neighborhoods, but we want to impact nations. We want to go to the next level in what we charge our clients. But are you willing to make the investment at the level that you want to be? Uh-oh. So you want
Oh,
people to pay you $1,000. Are you willing to invest $1,000 for your next level elevation or success? So because I wanted to go to Africa, I wanted to do some things over there, I was willing to make the investment. I even did what hurt. Uh-oh. I got shots I never had to get before. I did things I never had. I was like, all that for this? Yeah, all that for elevation, all that for next level. So I had to get more paperwork for that next level elevation. And I also had to make sure my paperwork was right. So I talk to entrepreneurs all the time and they like, oh, I want to go to the next level. You don't even know how much money you make at this level. You haven't even budgeted and prepared for Africa or the next level. So where you going? If you don't know where you at right now in your finances, find out where you at in your finances. That's a part of credentials. Having that budget, having that spending plan, so you can know what you need to do and what it's gonna take to get there. So be willing to do what hurts. Get the shots, get what you need. That's paperwork. Be willing to make the investment at the level that you want to be paid. It don't always feel good, but those are the investments that release another level of you, increase, put you in new territory. You want God to enlarge your territory, but you still investing at the last territory. Uh-oh.
oh,
So you got to be willing to do what you need to do in your level up. And I thought about this, Karen. This was so good to me. I was getting dressed this morning. I said, girl, let me tell you about them credentials. You get ready to go through when they check your credentials, your passport. I said, you don't even look like your yesterday. They looking at the picture 2-3 times. They like, this you? So when you leveling up, your picture don't even look like, it don't even look the same for where you going. But that's how God do. Even though you don't look like what you've been through, he still allows you to go through for where he's taking you. So I thought about it. I said, my picture don't even look like who I am today. So I said all that to say it don't matter what you look like yesterday. When God has a blessing for you today, you can go through with that yesterday's picture. But you got to still be positioned and prepared for where he's taking you. So I thought about that this morning. I was like, Lord, if they look at my yesterday picture, they might be like, well, who this? So you are qualified and you are not your yesterday, because your yesterday going to help you walk in your today. So
hello.
make sure you take the time to heal. Make sure you take the time to do what you need to do so you won't bleed in the marketplace. What you mean by that, Joy? So you won't be out here talking to people in your brokenness. So your yesterday qualified you because that passport, you got that done. Now, some of y'all wait to get it done right at the moment, but most of us already got our passport and driver's license already. So that still qualifies us, even though that was our picture from yesterday. It still qualifies us to walk in new territory today and tomorrow. Ooh, that's so good. So
That's
you
good,
got
good.
to understand that your yesterday is helping you prepare for today. So it don't matter what you've been through. It don't matter what you look like. That old driver's license would you get you into some new doors, some new territories, some new nations. That old driver's license, not the new one. That one where you look like you're 12, but you're really 35. So sometimes, with our credentials, a lot of times people feel like they're not qualified because of what it looks like. But that helps to qualify you for where you're going. But you still got to make sure at every level you prepare your documentation for next level. So I'm going to stop right there, Karen, because I keep talking.
Well, so I want to back up just a little bit
Okay.
because you said a few things and it came back to being comfortable and being uncomfortable. So you get your credentials.
Yeah.
You may now become uncomfortable because this is
Uh-oh.
a new level for you.
Ooh, that's so good.
What you do then when you're halfway in comfortable and you're halfway in uncomfortable? What you do then, because your credentials say you could go on to the next level,
So
but you
one of the
won't come to
things,
the next level because you're gonna be at the lower point.
well, I always tell people outside of your comfort zone is where the magic happens. Outside of your comfort zone is where you're stretched to be bigger, better, and greater. So first thing you got to do is position your mindset for next level success. So you got to see yourself in next level before you operate in next level. So that's the first thing I would say. See yourself at the next level before you get there. Then there's a scripture that says God has not given us the spirit of fear, but a power and a sound mind. So I often tell people, are you afraid to get your feet wet? Step out of that boat like Peter did. Step out and walk on water, even though it's uncomfortable, even though it's something scary. I don't know how to swim, but I trust that God is going to keep me in the next level. So I do what's scary. While shaking sometimes, we do it. But remember, God has not given us the spirit of fear. So if you're in a situation where it's uncomfortable, it's next level, what you can do, make sure your circle right. Get them to pray with you. Make sure you have a circle that speaks to the greatness on the inside of you. And when you're feeling some type of way, you can reach out. There's power in the reach and say, girl, this is uncomfortable. I'm struggling. And let them begin to pray for you. Let them begin to encourage you. And then just do it. Do it scared. Just step out of the boat and start walking on water. That's what you got to do. You got to do it scared, even though it's uncomfortable, because the truth of the matter is, as we're elevating, it's going to be a lot more uncomfort that's going to come with that. I'm trying to take, people going to look at you crazy, because when I went to Africa, they was looking at me crazy. They told me, Joy, you might not want to wear that blonde hair because you're going to stand out a little bit. But are you willing to stand out for your elevation? Ooh, that's so good. Are you willing to stand out for what God wants to do in your life? It's going to feel uncomfortable, but you got to be willing to make the step and get your feet wet and step out of the boat. Peter, it's time. And trust God in spite of the storm that he's going to keep you. Because it was when Peter started looking at everything that he began to sink. So you got to keep your eyes on the vision, on what's bigger, on what's better, on what's greater, although it may not look good. Let's be honest now. A lot of times our situations don't be looking good. And we be like, OMG. But if God has given you a vision, a big vision, it's going to be bigger than your bank account is probably not going to be able to look like the vision that God gave you. Because when God gives you big vision, normally your bank account don't match the vision he gave you. So you got to trust God at every level, even when everything around you is going crazy. I am here to tell you that if you step out and get your feet wet, that great things will come. You just got to be willing to be uncomfortable. And then guess what? When you evolve again, there's another season of being uncomfortable. You're like, man, real? Yeah. And that's why you got to have a circle of people who can pray for you and encourage you. So when you say, what do? First thing is I shift my mindset. Second thing is if I need to reach, because there's power in the reach, I reach out for somebody to pray for me. And the third thing is I just do it. I do it scared. And I just trust God along the process. So that's what I would say to that question. That was the long version to bring it back to the short version.
But that was some good advice, Joy. And even the point you pointing out that you need a circle. You need a circle of friends. You need a circle of people that can pray for you. Because when you're shifting to a new environment, you're going to go to new rooms. And when you get to those new rooms, you need people that have been in that room before you that can assist you along the way.
Yes.
So I'm not saying get rid of all your old friends, but along the way, you have to get you some new friends that can help guide you to that next level that you're trying to get to. So I definitely take all that advice. So in 2020, what credentials did you have to use during this pandemic?
So one of the things I had to use, this is so good for business owners too, because one of the things I noticed with a lot of my clients that I was working with when they were trying to get the PPP loan, their paperwork, their foundation wasn't what it needed to be in order to get the PPP loan or some of the stuff. So it's a lot of people running businesses, but the businesses wasn't legal. I said, what the world are you doing? We got to make sure we got our EIN. We got to make sure that nobody has our name. We got to get our LLCs from our Secretary of States wherever you live, because those credentials can help you. But for me, I wasn't able to get none of that money. But anyway, the credentials that I did use, I looked at what I had in my hands. I often talk about Moses. And Moses, not understanding the power that he had in his hands, thought he had just a staff of rod. So I say, what do you have in your hand, Moses, that can change the world? So I looked at my credentials. And one of the things I had, Karen, was a book. I turned my Making the Shift book into a digital product, passive income. That was a credential that I had. So I took what I had to create what I didn't. I started getting on live. Y'all think I've been doing this forever. I just started getting live videos during COVID. So I started going live. I took that live video, I leveraged it for YouTube. I took those live videos, turned some of them into digital products. So I took what I had to create what I did not have. So those are just some credentials. And the other credential is me, myself. I'm a credential. I stopped and I paused because you were talking about the layover. And COVID was my pause and it was my layover. It was my time for me to just seek God, to say, Lord, what is it that I have that I can use for the marketplace? What is it that you've already given to me that I can take to the next level? We go get jobs and look for all this extra stuff. Just pause in your layover and see what you have in your hand, Moses, so that you can begin to take what you have to create what you don't have. So then I took that same, I had a series that I did called Walk on Water, the WOW series. I took that same series. I wrote it because leadership is when you take what you have and it's duplicatable and somebody else can use it. We out here working too hard. So I took a series, I broke it down, and I took content from that one series and I used that content through a whole entire quarter. Y'all better listen to the strategy, honey. This will bless y'all whole life. Y'all ain't working too hard. So you take what you have, you break it up, and then you strategically use that content. You can use it for, 30 days, however long, based on the amount. So that's all I did, Karen. I took everything that I already had to create what I did not have. And that helped me to level up during COVID. And now I have digital products. I've created more ways to make money in my sleep. I started a private membership group. It was with content I already had. So guess what? I use video clips. I'm telling you, I use my videos on all different types of platforms. Y'all listen to me, one video. That's what we're going to have to come back here. We're going to have to do a class, The Power of One. How you can take one thing to create multiple things, multiple income sources, money in your sleep, passive income, residual income. So that's what I did. I took my books, I took my video content, and I used myself, the best credential, and just pray for God to show me what I have in my hands that I can use to get to the next level of elevation. So I think that would be what I would say as far as the credentials that I used during COVID and in my layover season, because that was my layover. Because before I got back on that plane, God was like, daughter, I need you to have some things in place, because the people that you're going to meet at this level, there are certain things that you got to already have done. We try to get in position when the elevation take place. No, you got to get in position and posture. I often talk about the pregnant mama and how we lay on our back. We get in posture. We get in position before we push. It's the same way in business. It's the same way in your layover season. You got to get in posture. You got to lay on your back, and whatever it is that God is telling you to do, you got to do it before you push. So when you get ready to get back to the elevation, you look back and say, okay. So add another thing I'll add, and I'll stop talking, I think. But another thing I'll add is at another level, one of the things I had to do is I invested in a trademark that cost me money. I tell people, start with your local trademark. Here it is. Savers is the new sexy. It's a national trademark. So when you, like I said earlier, are you willing to make the investment at the next level to protect yourself? Because a lot of times when we have our credentials, when we get ready to get on those flights, we got to add insurance. Business owners, do y'all have insurance? Do y'all have trademarks? Do y'all have copyrights? Protect your intellectual property and what it is that God gave you. I know you like, I love Jesus and I love the Lord, but baby, you still got to take care of business. You got to take care. So another thing I did in my layover season and my pause during COVID was I leveled up on some things I already had, and I made an investment to trademark it at another level. So again, that was required because where I was going to be using it, and it needed to be protected at another level because I was going to another level. So I said all that to say, guys, make sure that at every level you're making the necessary investments to protect your brand. Number one, also to make sure that you guys have insurance. And then the other thing is have an attorney, making sure that as you're leveling up, I tell people all the time, I love Jesus and I love the Lord, but I have been sued before and I'm not ashamed to talk about it because now I help people level up and make sure that they have legal protection with their business because of what happened to me. I came out good, but at the same time, my feelings was hurt because I didn't know that was going to happen to me again, I love Jesus and I love the Lord, but it did not exempt me from different things that I have went through. But I had that paperwork. I was in position for the unexpected, because sometimes it be unexpected and you be like, oh my God. But I had what I needed during the unexpected, like emergency funds. When you don't have an emergency fund, everything becomes an emergency. Like your taxes. For those of you that are doing, this is all credentials, y'all. She asking me what I use to level up. I'm doing real estate investment. If you want to invest, you got to show money. Unless you're going to just pay everything cash. So to my business owners, y'all writing everything off, but y'all want to be homeowners. Y'all want real estate. We talking about living on the right side of the cash flow quadrant where your money works for you. You got to have your paperwork right, or as Karen said, credentials. So that's the other things I used during COVID. My financial portfolio, my taxes, and all of those things, so I can level up in investments. But again, you cannot not do your taxes. I meet people and I'm just like, what you mean? You got to do them, y'all. Pay God, pay yourself, pay your taxes, pay your bills. Pay God, he's your source, he's your provider. Pay yourself, because without an emergency fund, everything becomes an emergency. Pay your taxes. I started off every year in the red, like the woman with the issue of blood. My bank accounts was bleeding. I'm just being honest. They was negative because I was not putting back for my taxes. So that looks like getting quarterly slips from your tax person, so you can pay and if you're going to make six figures, you want to start paying now. So you want to have a large bill at the end of the year and then pay yourself. So my clients was like, well, Miss Joy, I don't have any money to pay my bills. I say, still put it in your savings. Take it right back out your savings to pay your bills. You just got to get in the habit of doing it. So that's how I use my credentials to level up in my layover, to position me, and to take everything in my business and my life and finances to the next level. That was the long version.
You spoke on it. And Joy, you're coming back on the show because you're traveling, and we don't want to keep you too long because you're heading up into some trees and stuff, and we definitely want to keep the connection good while we can.
Mm-hmm.
But you're coming back on the show. For the people that need to follow you, Joy speaks on every platform. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. I'm about to say, okay, I heard it was breaking up. You were saying about following. Okay, so you guys can follow me on all of my platforms at Joy Speaks to You on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, as well as Facebook. Also, my website is touchofjoyconsulting.com. If you guys are looking to level up in your business, monetize your brand, or just looking to take your business to the next level, book a free discovery call at touchofjoyconsulting.com. I would love to talk to you to see if I'm a great fit for you, great coach for you, and help you be able to take your business to the next level.
So you hear that, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Follow her, Joy Speaks to You, and then you can definitely link onto her website to book a consultation. Joy, I thank you so much for joining us on today.
Thank you for having me.
You're definitely welcome. You guys know, in order to follow the podcast, it is anchor.fm/KT of Lifestyle. Also, you can stay connected with me at www.karentlewis.com. Thank you all for joining us on today for this conversation. Joy will not be a stranger to the show. She will be back.
Thank you so
and
much.
as always, guys, thank you for joining us. Love you. There's nothing you can do about it.